But you can find a short snippet video of like Chan Chun Sing playing the game of Would You Rather with the Straits Times reporter, which I was like, wow.
Like a principal for a day or student for a week. So, I mean, in some way, this article is would you rather what? Would you rather have more teachers or better teachers? Which one you want? So, which one you want, Mr. Chan? Huh? Quick update. We've completed the first 20 recordings of our Words of Wisdom project, which is our initiative with Folklories to capture the life stories of 60 Singaporeans over 60 as podcasts. Now, these are 20 seniors from all walks of life. Coaches, academics, religious leaders, and many others. The good news is that you can still be part of this once-in-a-generation project. Now, if you know a Singaporean above 60 with an unforgettable life story, nominate them to be interviewed and to have their words of wisdom captured forever. Most of our guests so far have also been nominated, so your help definitely counts. And if you think you are the perfect candidate yourself, don't be shy. Go ahead and nominate yourself. So click on the link in the episode description to find out more and listen to some of the completed recordings. Each recording is done remotely and takes only 30 minutes, but the lessons left behind will last for a lifetime. And now, on to the podcast. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terrence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor, man. Happy freaking New Year, man.
Happy 2025, man.
Happy 2025.
Yeah, finally.
SG60.
Yeah. Wow. First podcast of the new year.
First of podcast.
Yeah.
After you're back from your tracing of your ancestral roots in your motherland.
Yeah. I don't know if you mentioned it. I can't remember if you mentioned it, but yeah, I was in China, in Xiamen in China for the last week. Just going to visit my parents' ancestors' homes and things like that.
So your ancestors' homes also lah?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, you see, literally when I say that, it tells you how removed I feel from it and how removed we as Singaporeans are from that whole process, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, do you know anything about your grandparents or great-grandparents?
I mean, I know they come from this certain place in India called Sindh, which is now part of Pakistan. Yeah. Beyond that, I have no clue.
That's probably more than what most people know about their grandparents. Right? Yeah, same here also. I don't know much. But over there, when I went there, they had like family trees, in the village, like that were from the floor to the ceiling, in terms of like
written,
yeah. So you can really trace like 7, 8, 9, 10 generations, like where exactly you came from. So it's kind of like the sense of like history there is really quite something. They really take pride in knowing where they're from.
But do they have ancestral worship is part of certain cultures and all?
Correct.
Is there that part, or is there what your great-great-great-grandfather would have said after you do this, You get a sense, is that kind of thing?
There's a sense that they would say things like, our bloodline. No, they'll say things like our bloodline, we're all really good at studying. We're all like from the imperial college days, when, we went to the Chinese imperial colleges and stuff. And then now some of us are doctors and dentists and stuff like that.
I mean, it's damn cool to hear the word bloodline. It's like, hey, our bloodline.
Yeah. I mean, that's where it imbues a sense of history into your surname and all. No kidding. I was staying in a hotel, and in the hotel while I was there was a 3-day conference for people with the same surname in the region. Just the same surname, and they all gathered for a weekend to hang out and just get to know each other. And there was like a whole board where they show how much money they donated to the clan with the same surname. So all the names were there without the surname, because they're all the same surname. So I'm talking about like hundreds of donors. So there were hundreds of people attending that.
Then what do they do at the conference?
I guess talk about these things, like about the lineage and where the surname came from and what they're famous for. Maybe they talk about break down the percentages of what everyone's doing now. So people are donating amounts of like thousands of dollars to the conference.
To the conference, which is like powered by the clan.
Yeah.
So the clan is based on the surname.
Based on surname. And this is not national. This is regional. Yeah. It's a regional conference for the people with that surname.
Regional.
That's the fucking scale we talk about when you talk about China. So Singapore, when someone has the same surname as you, do you really bat an eyelid at all?
I mean, the only people with the same surname as me is like family.
Your clan.
A clan.
Okay.
Don't know whether it's a clan, but I mean also because the surname is a bit less common than something like Tan or Lee or something.
Correct. Yeah. I guess because there are more Chinese people here.
Yeah.
I don't bat an eyelid when someone has the same surname as me.
Yeah.
But in China, it's like a thing.
Wow.
So that really tells you where each person sees their place in history in China compared to what in Singapore, right?
So like, did it change you as a person or not, that whole experience?
I got scared, man. Scared. Because like China is just, the scale of it is terrifying, and how they're progressing and where Singapore is going to be in the next like 50 to 100 years is a big question mark when you see how big this China wave is going to be. And I'm sure it's not just limited to China. I'm sure India as well, billions of people. And the crazy thing about China is like there's this sense of history, right? Where everything they do, the propaganda tries to link it with China's history. Like talking about please pee closer to the urinal because civilization, one small step for you is one big step for civilization. So that's literally, I'm trying to like translate it from Chinese English, but that's literally what they say, So they really link everything you do to like how are you part of China's future, and China's civilization and future.
See, that's where, I mean, from what I've heard, I spent a bit of time in India. I think that there is not as strong a culture that you're building like the next Indian empire.
Yeah.
And I've heard from people who go to China, like yourself, other people, there is that, China, this is our time, It's our time, let's come together. Whereas India, it feels there's a lot more civil tension.
Yeah. I guess maybe more individualistic in some ways. The truth is, in China, at first when I was meeting all these relatives and all, I won't deny, at first I was kind of afraid that we'd be scammed, that at some point they'll whip out a QR code and ask you to donate
your
to the
clan or your SingPost delivery is like still stuck in China.
Yeah, exactly. But after a while, I realized, no, these people are really like, it's for them, it's almost like catching Pokemon like that. Finding a relative, who's in Singapore, who doesn't know anything about ancestry. Let me catch you, and then now you understand our.
So they were very happy to see you, lah.
Yeah. So they were really warm, welcoming. Not say I was communicating with them like all the time because my Chinese is terrible, but you really understand a lot more about your ancestry when you talk to them.
It's another chia, lah, basically.
No, not chia. They were going down. This was my mother's side that we were tracing, So it was interesting to hear, like how all of them really care so much about it, Yeah.
So you're going to set up a gathering for all the chias in Singapore?
Exactly. I'm going to set up a clan. I'm going to set up a chia clan and hang out with all the other chias. Actually, what's so bad about that? Like, right? I mean it sounds weird in Singapore, but actually. It's an interesting thing, right? To just understand what other Tilanis are doing, right?
No, but that's the thing. Like, if I were to organize a Tilani gathering in Singapore, it'll just be family.
You already know everyone already.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know whether there's any Tilani that I haven't met or I cannot trace a very quick, like, oh, you're my father's brothers, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Whereas Chia feels like there are probably some Chias in Singapore you haven't met.
There are a lot of Chias.
So that would be fun.
Yeah.
Like a Chia meeting.
A Chia conference. Like it's like NES dailies, the NES summit.
The Chia summit. No, then all the different professions, because I'm guessing in your bloodline, no one really did podcasting, right?
Yeah.
So you are creating a new branch in the Chia clan.
Exactly.
The Chia Summit. So all those Chias listening, if you want to be part of the Chia Summit, holler at Terrence.
Yeah. It's true. And China is so big. It's just the countryside has a countryside,
Yeah.
Like you go to a countryside, then they'll tell you about another countryside that where they go to hang out to rest. It's like I don't know where it ends.
There was the countryside of a countryside, like just grass.
I mean, essentially, I spent like a whole day like in a village, where people hang meat next to the underwear to dry and stuff like that. No? So it was really that experience. And in America, like one girl, does some spitting thing online and becomes the Hock Tour girl. In China, the whole population is Hock Tour. Everyone is Hock Tour, Like, it doesn't even matter to them. I can't imagine that Hock Tour girl going there and being a big deal at all.
I mean, the Hock Tour became Hock Tour girl because of what she was Hock Toying on. I don't think in China everybody's Hock Toying on the same thing in public, right?
They're just Hock Toying the road, Hock Toying everywhere. And I literally saw a kid like this. Like he needed to pee, so he was like by this major road, and then he just turned around, put down his pants, and just pee on the road. And then parents just looked there and okay, I'll just let him pee.
It's normal.
Cars passing by, everything. It's like, that's life, So there's still in that way, Singapore we're still a bit ahead in terms of like that how we use the toilet and things like that.
But did your kids see that kid and like, oh shit, you can do that?
You know, I quickly walk past and don't let them. Don't talk about this kind of things. You want them to learn from the bad examples. Yeah.
But overall, very positive experience, lah.
Fun. I know. I'm sounding like one of those like naysayers. No, I'm sounding like a naysayer. Like, oh, China's so scary, all that. But the truth is, it's a very fun place, lah, because it's another dimension from the world we live in. It just feels like a different place.
Yeah, I haven't been to China before.
And the firewall is real. Like, you can't use Google or that. Can you imagine, like, when you suddenly can't use Google Maps, you can't use Google anything, you can't read reviews, and all you have to do is just walk around, just experience a place for yourself.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I would suggest if you want to go, you go with a friend who can speak Chinese. It really is not easy getting around there.
I mean, I would love to go to China at some point. It does feel like a different world. And probably if you went like 10 years ago, it probably felt even more of a different world. Now there's still a bit more like globalization, I would imagine.
Correct. Yeah. People are, I think the infrastructure is all there. Like there are queues for people and people actually queue. But there's still people who, try and cut or try to force their way through and shout and scream and all. It's just a very loud place to be. But maybe not your kind of thing. I can't imagine it.
Why?
Because for example, you don't like having to cook like hot pot and for yourself and all that. You don't like having to cook food yourself, or you like to be served. You like to be served.
Fuck you lah, okay? I like cooking food, okay? Me and my wife, we still do meal prep every Saturday, Sunday. I like cooking before, so that when you are eating, you are just eating. You're not cooking while eating. That's my bone to pick with hot pot.
I see.
I like cooking, okay? so and I don't think salmon is just hot pot lah, right?
It's not. Yeah. But I mean, that's a big feature there.
No, I would love.
And you don't like spicy food, mala and all that, right?
There are other options, Terrence. Okay, there are other options. I would love to at some point.
But yeah, I heard the podcast Andy did while I was away as well. He very valiantly stepped up. You covered quite heavy topics as well. Right? How's that?
I mean, fun. It's always nice to have Andy on. And I mean, he fits in very well. And yeah, he's back in Singapore till February, I think, filming something. That will come out, I think, and second half of next year or something.
I did listen a bit, and can I just say that it was excruciating listening to the two of you talking about like music festivals. Festivals. When I listened to it, I felt like I was listening to two virgins, like virgin boys talking about sex. Music festivals, I think they're fun, right? Yeah, they're fun. Actually, it's like Indian wedding. Have you been to Indian wedding? I'm like, come on, guys.
Is it not? Aren't music festivals something like an Indian wedding? It's multi-day. People get drunk. People do stupid things. Things get blown out of proportion. It's exactly like a musical festival.
Sure. Yeah, but that's why for me, I'm very cool. I've been to a lot of music festivals. It was excruciating listening to two of you, like trying to understand what a music festival is.
So here you were trying to trace your ancestral roots, and you're listening to two people talk about music festivals in Singapore.
Exactly.
Because of the Yawan link, is it?
No. I was just interested to
find out,
to listen what Andy had to say. It's been a while since we had him on, right?
Yeah, correct. I mean, the last time he came on was when I was on paternity.
No, like even before that. I think you were on a trip or something. We haven't seen him for a whole year.
Oh shit! Oh, that's true. Because when I told him the last time you were on was when I was on paternity, he was like, yeah.
Yeah, fake news. Fake Poffma. Yeah. I'm here to pull the Poffma hammer out. Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, man. So we're back, ready to start cranking these episodes out.
But you done your yearly planning, as in your yearly goal setting, the co-working space and all that.
Have I mentioned it on this podcast?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. And this, again, it is not just me forcing it on my wife. Okay, it's something that we both actually see a lot of value in, and I recommend everybody do. Just like like a couple of hours at the end of every year, just spend some time, reviewing the year and planning for the next, and then you have a nice lunch in between.
Oh, I see.
It's great.
But at a co-working space.
Oh yeah. No,
that's the part that's weird. The goal setting on that, I think everyone's like, okay, cool.
No, it was at this interesting space where there's space to co-work, but it's also like a restaurant.
A restaurant / co-working space.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't. It's somewhere in Tanjong Pagar. So you just book for like 4 hours. You get some credits. You can eat, snack, and all that, and do that. And I think it's important because you can always do it at home, you can do it at a cafe, but then there's distractions and all. So this one, in fact, my wife found the place.
So it's not
I
you.
had nothing to do with the choice. She found the place, okay? And it was great. It was
Maybe
great.
next year Christmas, I'll get you like a booking at Hai Di Lao. You can sit down for
Fuck
4
that.
hours and eat Hai Di Lao and
No,
set your
cannot.
goals for you.
Cannot. Because how are you going to set goals with Hai Di Lao?
You have to
You
be
have to
cooking.
keep checking, yeah.
And you have to keep cooking at the same time.
Yeah, cannot. Hot pot cookies, tricky. But it was a nice holiday season. My kids' first Christmas, first New Year. So fun.
Did it meet your expectations of what being Christmas as a parent is?
I mean, I didn't really have expectations apart from just it's going to be tiring, which it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why
which it was.
tiring? Like,
I mean, because just anything you want to do, you kind of have to do it with your kid. And New Year's, Christmas for me last time was always, you just relax.
Yeah.
And at night, after a heavy meal, you can just watch TV. Can't really do that. Or you need to plan around it.
Yeah.
So it's tiring.
Okay.
Tiring. In the middle of the night, still have to wake up and do all that.
But you dress your kid in like the Christmas clothes and all
Christmas
that.
colours.
Colours.
Christmas colours, yeah.
Church also was part of it.
Yeah, and we heroes went for midnight mass.
Your kid also went.
Yeah, which was a bad idea.
I would say, yeah. I mean, I get the intention, but
it was
it's
a bad idea.
lah.
Yeah, I mean, because midnight mass was something we've been doing the past few years since I met my wife.
Correct.
So it's nice, Christmas, you welcome the New Year and means a lot to her. So I was like, okay, but we were a bit too optimistic, so I think next year we will go for the evening one.
Makes sense. Okay.
Midnight
Logic.
mass. Yeah, when we walked into the baby room and saw that we were the only ones in the room, that was when I was like, oh shit, maybe people don't do this.
There was a baby room especially.
that church had like a baby room.
Or to isolate crying children.
Yeah,
correct. It's not a wise move.
Yeah. I mean, on hindsight, not wise. But we had a good intention.
I get the fervor. I get the fervor.
Yeah.
But some circadian rhythms are important for
I mean, because she's been sleeping thankfully a good amount through the night, and we have moved her from my wife's parents' place home without her waking up. So
you tried
go to church, she'll be okay lah. But halfway through, I was like, oh my god. So I mean, in the end, she calmed down and
I hope that made it to your annual what went well, what didn't go so well.
We did it before Christmas.
Don't forget to add that as well.
I'm saving it for next year. Saving it for next year.
Don't repeat that
Saving
mistake.
it for next year.
Yeah,
but I mean, with kids, you do so many things. You just look back, you're like, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Right? It's normal, right?
It's normal, yeah. But I think generally our generation of parents, as in us as parents, sleep is a much bigger priority for the child, right? Compared to our time when we adhered to whatever adult timetable there was, we're going to auntie's house and we'll stay there till 10 p.m. whatever. But now, I mean, me and my friends were much more like, oh, okay, it's time to go home, it's time to sleep.
Correct.
Yeah.
And we're starting to be more diligent about that also.
So if I was at the church and I saw you guys bring a baby in, I think my immediate thought
you would judge her.
Yeah, I would be like, what the hell are you doing? Not so much that you're disturbing everyone else, but what are you doing to your child? That's how I'll judge.
Yeah, I'll say shut up, okay? Shut the hell up. It's also
why not in church? That's the best place to judge, right?
Hey. On New Year's mass, the nice thing about it, there was a baby room, so we were cordoned off.
Oh, okay. You were cordoned off.
Yeah. No, I mean, even when I go with my wife to church, if our kid starts crying, I'll just step out.
Oh, okay.
I'll just step out because then soothe her, then come back.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah. Lesson learned.
So,
what didn't go so well in 2024? One of the learnings.
There's last 2 weeks. But yeah, man.
But I mean, we have a lot of topics around educating your child.
Yeah.
So
correct,
that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Shall we? I mean, but before all that, what do we always tell people?
That if you are new to the podcast or if you've been listening for a while and haven't yet shared it with someone who may not have heard of us, it'd be great if you could. And please follow us on Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok, Instagram. Leave us a rating if you like on Spotify. That always helps. And if you'd like to work with us,
go to ministryoffunny.com or email us at contact@ministryoffunny.com.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
The first of many podcasts of 2025. Going to be an exciting year. But we do have some news to talk about.
Yeah.
Starting with, January 2nd, I think a lot of schools started, if not all schools. And along with the start of schools came a certain message from Chan Chun Sing, who is the education minister. There was an interview he did with the Straits Times, and the gist of it is that his philosophy is that the quality of teachers is a greater determinant of educational outcomes than class size. Basically, the debate between whether hiring more teachers and having smaller class size would, improve education or just focusing on teacher quality.
Yeah.
So I mean, some numbers to talk through and all, but when you saw this, was there any initial reaction you had, as a parent yourself?
I was kind of wondering about the timing, but I realized it's because, second gen, like a lot of kids starting primary one and all. So I have friends whose kids are reaching the age, and there's a lot of anxiety in that whole event. Like they were sending pictures of the kids being separated from parents, or the parents, being able to watch the kids and eating lunch in the canteen and stuff like that. So I guess this is kind of like an annual State of the Union thing for the education minister to just like, hey, this is what the school year is going to be like, and what my priorities are, what the ministry's priorities are over the year. And Chan Chun Sing, I mean, I think he laid down a few things, right? Not just about the class size or teacher quality, but also about the use of devices in classes and all that. So, okay, I guess this is something that we probably will get used to seeing at the start of every year.
But is it something that like every year comes out? Do you recall?
I don't know, but maybe because I got a kid now, I notice these things more. I think you will at some point also notice.
I mean, I'm feeling it also. Like, I mean, this one also. I mean, okay, so the gist of the argument, like, I think he had one question. He said, "Can you double the number of teachers and still maintain the quality?" So some stats that were in the article was that apparently the number of teachers in the teaching fraternity has decreased over the years due to a slowdown in recruitment.
Yeah.
So in 2016, there were 33,378 teachers versus 30,396 teachers in 2023. But he said the teacher to student ratio has improved partly due to the smaller student cohort sizes. So the number of students per teacher in primary schools has decreased from 16.5 in 2014 to 15.2 in 2023. In secondary schools, it's remained stable, 12.6 in 2023 to 12.5 in 2014.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, I found it a bit surprising when he said there's a slowdown in recruitment. Because, okay, yes, our population is, we're not making enough babies.
Yeah.
Right? I'm guessing that translates into a decrease in cohort sizes for especially government schools, public schools, where most Singaporeans go to. But I still found it surprising that there's a slowdown in recruitment.
When you say slowdown recruitment, you're referring to the number of teachers joining every year? Or?
Yeah. I mean, because I can imagine the number of teachers decreasing every year because the job is just damn hard. And from what I gather, the pay also is not that amazing. So I would imagine there's less supply of teachers. But what is being said here is that there's a slowdown in recruitment, which is what I find surprising.
But actually, he said MOE recruits up to 700 teachers annually, and this has been consistent over the years, right?
Yeah.
But the number of teachers actually has been decreasing steadily over the years.
That means teachers are leaving?
More teachers are leaving than there are teachers joining.
Yeah.
So when you say recruitment is slowing down, means that that's that difference is what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's not so much that they hire less or what.
Yeah. Okay, that's true. So the slowdown in recruitment could be the absolute numbers. But what you're saying is MOE has hired the same number. It's not saying MOE sees a need for less teachers.
Yeah. The new teachers is every year is about the same number.
Yeah.
But the number of teachers leaving is increasing, right?
Yeah, correct. I mean, in some ways, our declining birth rate also, right? But so that's why, okay, with that context, and then with the end message being teacher quality being more important than class sizes, then I'm thinking, wait, is that kind of trying to paint the reality which is not ideal and finding a silver lining to something that doesn't really have a silver lining?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
I mean, the big thing for me is that they can be two completely separate things, right? The quality of teaching or the quality of teachers and the class sizes also. They're not necessarily, it's not necessarily one or the other. It's not a dichotomy that way, right? You can have smaller class sizes and you still can, vary the quality of the teaching. You can improve it or make it worse.
Yeah.
I think that the thing about class sizes is it makes things more manageable for teachers, right? And allows them to, whether it's focus more on a smaller group of students or do more for their own professional development.
Yeah.
So that's the thing I don't understand here. Why is it? It's almost, why are they even comparing two things? Why is he even comparing two things that should be completely separate? So
correct. And that's why it feels like, wait, what is the end narrative they're trying to get at? Because I mean, just like you think of it, just common sense wise, of course, the teaching quality would improve with less students, lah.
Yeah.
And I mean, so let's say you have a very capable teacher, very experienced with a class size of 40. Can they be as effective for each student as, say, a newer teacher who is teaching a class size of 20? They might end up being the same.
Yeah.
And in some way, we have a bit of experience speaking to students of different sizes because we have done talks on a classroom level with like some students coming to our office of like 10 to 15 students at classes at schools where it's like 30 to 40 students, full auditoriums of like 500, 600 people.
Yeah.
And you, even as the presenter, there's a very big difference as the number goes up.
Yeah.
Right. I think most recently I gave a talk at a school of 40 students, and it's damn hard to keep their attention. Because the class is also a bit big. So the kids at the end, they're just staring at you, dozing off, and then you're like, oh shit, like it's damn stressful.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter the quality of what you're saying or the content that you're saying, right? Just saying
I would like to think so.
but saying to 1,000 people is very different from saying it to like 5 people or 10 people, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to capture everyone's attention.
Yeah, and I mean another analogy that was brought up was like the class examples, the class sizes in the US, China, and Singapore.
Yeah.
So apparently they all have comparable teacher to student ratios, but their class sizes vary greatly. So in China, they adopt a lectorial style of teaching where they handle 70 students in a single lesson. US teachers have much smaller class sizes, and Singapore sits somewhere in the middle. And then, the one quote was that, I think he was playing up how the Chinese system is effective, and the US system is maybe, not say not as effective, but there's no downside to doing what Singapore is doing. That Singapore's focus is instead to maximize teachers' capabilities and capacities. And one way to do this is to stop teaching to the average, because a new thing that wasn't present in our time is that the subject-based banding, which feels like a step in the right direction. But I don't know, just from the outside, reading about news concerning teachers, it feels like the job of a teacher is getting harder and harder.
Yeah.
And maximizing their capabilities and capacities doesn't seem like, I don't know, that's happening. Like, I'm sure you have teacher friends also, right? Yeah. It's damn shit.
Yeah. And a lot of them, they do have the passion for teaching, and they do have a passion for, bringing up good students and all that. But the truth is they're just overwhelmed by the number of kids that they have to handle. Whether it's within the classroom having to deal with conflicts or deal with like certain students who, have issues or anything. But outside of that, then after that is the ECA and the extracurricular stuff that teachers are expected to take care of as well. So there's no time for them to, think about things like personal development as a teacher or just going the extra mile for a student because they just have that much more to handle. Yeah. So it really is a workload issue, and for at least the teachers that I've spoken to, it's a workload issue and not so much a pay issue or anything like that. Like you could pay them more, but it doesn't mean that it'll be any better or easier for them to do their job. It's still a very, very tough juggling act for them.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I mean he's comparing a lot to US and China also. But when I read it, I was just thinking like, why only compared to those countries? Because I have had experience, volunteering in like US public schools as well. Just volunteering, just going there to help handle the, just doing some basic tuition for some kids in the class and all that. And I've watched how the kids are in these US public schools as well. And they're not that much smaller than what I've seen in Singapore schools or what it's said to be in Singapore schools now, right? But it's still really, really tough for the teacher to handle, right? And that's why they need like volunteers to come and help and things like that. No? So it kind of, when he pulls out all these statistics, I'm like, I'm trying to understand like what's the narrative like, because he also he's not basically, I don't feel like he's pulling examples from the best educational systems we know about in the world, like, whether it's like in the Scandinavian countries or Finland or whatever, right? But US is not a great example of a good school system, I find. And China might be the whole other extreme, just from what I've experienced in the past week. So I don't know why he's choosing those two as examples, maybe because they're superpowers, but at the same time, we know that the educational systems are not up to par, right?
Yeah. And I mean, it's just very, very one-off facts, right?
Yeah.
Because the one thing that is not mentioned at any point here is that, again, from the outside, I mean, I'm sure I'll face the pressure at some point, is the tuition industry in Singapore, right? And you would imagine tuition is because, yes, of course, parents are stressed out. They don't want their kids to lose out, which is a very real thing. And they want to supplement. But you could also look at it, do they need supplementation because the teachers are kind of stretched.
Yeah.
And I do recall anecdotally hearing from some teacher friends is that in certain schools, the expectation of a teacher is that there will be tuition. So the way you structure your lessons is also with that in mind. But that's a problem because the people who maybe cannot afford tuition, they will obviously lose out.
Yeah.
So in some case, if you're talking about, okay, teacher quality, more important than class sizes, what are the consequences? Yes, you can have the most capable teacher, but if they're so stretched for a class of 40 and the students are going to have to make it up in tuition, then it feels like it's not really, like it's a false image that's being painted, because without you remove the tuition, maybe that would be you can see the real consequence of having teachers and such big class sizes.
Correct. And you're someone who's gone to the upper echelons of Singapore education, being educated at Raffles and everything.
You also. Okay?
Yeah,
okay.
So, I mean, when he says teacher quality is very important, right? Does it mean that because you went to a good school, all your teachers were like excellent teachers?
Nope.
Yeah, that's a rhetorical question for those who don't know. Yeah, I mean, because my experience also is the same way. I don't feel like just because you went to Raffles Institution that your teachers are the best, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard to quantify something like teacher quality, right? Or the quality of education. I'm sure there are some metrics you can use, but yeah, like sometimes it's not even about the teachers, the quality of the teacher, but it's just the teacher's attitude towards students, and then or even the teacher's temper and things like that affect the whole experience of learning, right?
Yeah.
So that's why comparing teacher quality and class sizes, one is like immediately quantifiable. The other one is just so nebulous and it varies from school to school, person to person, experience to experience. So I just don't understand this comparison unless it's trying to distract from one statistic, and then just focus on something that's very nebulous and very hard to quantify.
Because like some of the teachers that to me were the best, and not just in secondary school, were the ones that I didn't learn the most academic stuff from. It just felt like they really boosted my confidence in some way, and it felt like they were guiding me not just academically, but be it as a sports coach or something. So yeah, how you define quality is one thing. And I mean, the thing is, you can't find a full interview of this conversation.
Yeah, but you can find a short snippet video of like Chan Chun Sing playing the game of Would You Rather with the Straits Times reporter, which was like, wow.
Like a principal for a day or student for a week. So I mean, in some way, this article is would you rather? Would you rather have more teachers or better teachers? Which one you want? So which one you want, Mr. Chan?
I think that's what we're saying here. It's a false dichotomy. It doesn't have to be one or the other, right?
Yeah.
You can tackle these both. I mean, the clear thing is that there is a problem with recruitment or at least retaining teachers. So why not like try and tackle that problem head on?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, because that's the big question that comes out from this. It's like, well, I mean, it feels like there are more schools opening up, and it feels like, I think most schools also now are single session, right? Which I don't know how you can squeeze in the same number of students in single session compared to ours last time double session, right?
Correct, yeah.
So it feels like, okay, there's a need for more teachers. But why? Yeah, exactly. Why is the teaching profession so maybe not as desired anymore, lah?
So you are not a 4-star general, or you did not have the experience of being a 4-star general, right?
Yeah.
So what brilliant ideas can you conceive of to decrease, or at least to improve teacher retention that Chan Chun Sing, former SAF general and everything, that he hasn't thought of it? What ideas would you have to make teachers stay?
I mean, I think just, prepping them up as like really the heroes of society. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Maybe they get can cut queues everywhere.
Yeah.
Parking, priority parking everywhere. And just you elevate their status. Of course, as much as you say pay is not an issue, I'm pretty sure if you just, okay, take for example, we had Lionel Lee from West Point, right?
Correct, yes.
And his whole approach is that for bus drivers, there's a window of opportunity to get people who really enjoy driving buses and who are Singaporean. And his belief is that if you pay them a good amount of money, they will come.
Yeah.
And I do feel like, of course, beyond a certain point, money doesn't matter. But if there's a pay that, makes all this hard effort worthwhile, it also helps them, build their careers in a country that is, or build their livelihood in a country that is getting more and more expensive.
Yeah.
So I feel that also can be part of the conversation. I don't know what the salary is now, but yeah, so those are for you, any ideas?
Yeah, I think just from my experience in China, I think social engineering, or at least propaganda or what goes a long way in actually changing mindsets also. And I don't feel in Singapore that we talk enough about the important role that teachers have in basically cultivating the most important or the only resource that Singapore has, right?
Yeah.
Our
babies,
children.
babies.
So we never really think about the teaching profession in such a way, and we don't talk about it in such a way. When something screws up, like the vice principal has his sexting scandal, or that everyone just goes in and just makes fun of it, right?
Yeah.
But we don't talk about our teachers in that kind of way where we they're a very, very important part of the ecosystem, right? In terms of nurturing the future generation of Singapore.
Yeah.
And in China, like I mentioned, they do it to the next level where they try to place you in history and try to make sure you understand that you're part of a historical effort to move the country to the next empire, to the next 100 years of empire and all that, right? In Singapore, I think there's a little bit of tugging at heartstrings every Teacher's Day, that kind of thing.
Yeah lah.
But other than that, not
Teacher
much.
of the year and all that. You want, Singapore is all about capitalism and all that, right?
Yeah.
You have the system where every student you teach, right?
Yeah.
You get one share in their future income.
The first year of paycheck, you get a percentage. Wow. I tell you, everyone will be.
Oh, fucking everything invest, right? You invest early, fucking invest in the students you teach, and you get a small percentage of their income. If the income goes beyond a certain threshold, then everybody's incentivized.
Everyone's incentivized.
Right, everyone's incentivized. If they get a startup, they sell, you get your teacher share, man.
Yeah. Correct. But some ministers might say that you cannot measure your contribution with your dollars and cents.
Oh, that's true. I mean, then you can throw it back to them. It's not the number of seats in parliament.
Yeah.
It's the quality of MPs.
Or maybe just you peg peg the teacher's salary to the top percentage of your cohort, their salaries when they start work. You peg it only to the top 5% or something like that. Right?
Screw all that. My teacher from primary school really made me understand what it is to be kind. We'll be like, no man, my teacher helped me become a multi-millionaire by the time I was 29.
Yeah, but then might incentivize teachers to just push everyone to become doctors and lawyers and bankers.
Oh, that's true. Bankers. Oh yeah, fuck, that's bad.
Don't do music, don't do art, don't do all that.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, you also don't want to incentivize people that way, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Tricky.
Tricky, education.
You need to be a brigadier general in order to find a solution for this.
The 4 stars. Oh, man.
But yeah, bringing up children is tough. And sometimes it's not even just about what they do in school, but what they do outside. And sometimes really, when you see kids being rowdy outside, or I'm sure it's come across your mind, someone needs to give this kid a tight slap, that kind of thing. And someone actually did, in real life. and it's caused a bit of a debate. And what is this? What is this issue?
It is the issue of a 38-year-old man who was arrested for allegedly slapping a 6-year-old boy at an indoor playground in Westgate Shopping Mall on December 22nd, 2024. So basically what happened, there was a boy, and his mom had taken him to a playground to play with a friend that day. The mom was chatting and didn't notice that her son had a dispute with a little girl. So then she went up, apologized to the girl's father, who approached her and, started scolding her. And then she realized that the son was crying and had a red mark on his face. So a witness then approached her and said, oh, your son had been slapped in the face by that man. And the witness also added that her son had kicked the girl after the girl knocked down the castle that he was building.
Yeah. Sandcastle, right?
Yeah, the sandcastle. So basically then she went back to confront the girl's father, who denied slapping their son. But after that, called the police. The son was sent to the hospital, and it was kind of clear that the man had slapped the child.
Yeah.
And then the father, said that, while playing with other children, my son became involved in a minor conflict, a common occurrence among young children. During the commotion, my son pushed another child. What followed, however, was an act no parent should ever have to witness. The father of the child approached my son and without hesitation struck him across the face. And I think it was backed up by CCTV footage.
Yep.
So basically the guy was arrested and I think got 4 weeks jail.
Already? I thought he was just arrested.
Oh, just arrested. Okay. And then the father was very adamant that he's left seeking justice not only for his son but for the sanctity of every child's right to feel safe and protected. And very, very articulate about the trauma that his son suffered.
Yeah.
So online you get a lot of different reactions on Reddit, on Stomp, on Asia One. But as the more experienced parent between the two of us, what are your thoughts?
It's something I think you will experience it at some point. Like playground conflicts and things like that. Like as a parent, like how much should you get involved? Because I think right now there's a lot of literature out there that says that we should let our children be children in schools. If you read books by Jonathan Haidt, Anxious Generation or Coddling of the American Mind, he's very much an advocate for let your child be independent, let them settle their own conflicts in the playground. Let them, find their own way home from school. And the more we mollycoddle our children, the more we're setting them up for failure, right? In terms of them not knowing how to tackle all these things in the larger world. But this one, a kid, he essentially kicked another child, maybe even a smaller, younger child, right? A defenseless, smaller child, and ended up getting, punished for that. Do you think that's a bad thing, coming from your upbringing and everything? Where our generation was more like you do stupid things, you all be good, right? The saying all be good, you get slapped or whatever, right? And I've seen it before, where kids, when I grew up, like if they were very noisy in the school bus or that, the school bus driver, I think also just would just come and slap the child. So
teachers in school also,
teachers in school.
Cane with feather duster if you don't get spelling correct,
Or use a book and hit your head and things like that, right?
Yeah, correct.
Happened a lot in our time.
Yeah.
But now this one is like, the father of the child is saying that, it was traumatic, heart-wrenching, waking up in the middle of the night, PTSD, reliving the trauma of that moment. How do you feel about all this?
I was just imagining, okay, if I see a little kid kick my daughter, I'll be damn pissed off. But I think, okay, so it's a few things stand out. When the father was talking about what his son has suffered, at no point did he mention that his son kicked the other girl. And he just said it's a minor conflict.
Yeah.
So that one felt a bit weird. But I think for the father of the girl who was kicked, slapping another child, that one I think is still a no-go. I think you can express all your frustration and anger at the parent.
Yeah.
But touching another person's child, that one you can't excuse that. But for you?
At some point you might need to, right? If the conflict between the children escalates to a certain point, like pushing and shoving or scuffling and everything, as a parent you might need to get in the fray. But like you, I don't think you need to slap anyone in particular.
Yeah.
What you need to do is just sort of like just get in
Chokehold,
between them, hold them apart, right? Make sure nobody gets hurt. Like even yourself as well. Don't get hurt by any of the children, and just get everyone to calm down. Because at the end of the day, children, the one faculty that they don't have is control of their emotions, right? And you as an adult should be doing that or teaching them how to do it, and that's where I think you have to you have to be physical in the sense you have to get between them, but you don't have to slap or punish them. I think punishment is a whole separate other thing.
You just slap the mom, right?
Slap the mom.
Slap the mom.
If it gets to that stage, right, where you have to have self-defense and everything. But it's a very real thing. It's a very real thing. And playgrounds is always quite, I think nowadays, like most parents follow the kids to the playgrounds. So you'll see there are some parents who are much more protective, like everything. So they're hovering around the child, all that. Then there are parents that like this Mr. Chua and Mr. Chua's wife who's just sort of sitting there chatting with other people, not really watching over the kid So you'll see both But what do you think of the father's statement? I think you mentioned it earlier where he said that it's just a small minor thing that happens between children all the time.
Of his son allegedly kicking the girl.
Yeah.
Then I feel like, hey, you can't just brush that off. They never mentioned the age, right? But yeah, like you said,
the son is 6.
6.
Yeah.
The daughter, not sure.
Not sure, but based on the photos and all, she looks small also.
Smaller, right?
Yeah.
So then, while playing with other children, my son became involved in a minor conflict. Yeah. So, if the daughter pushed down the sandcastle, that's not good. But it's the same thing, right? She pushed down the sandcastle, your son kicked her.
Yeah.
Then it's like, whoa, that was an escalation.
Yeah.
And then on one hand, you're saying that, okay, your son did this, then a man slapped him. It's like, oh my God, it's like two sides of the same horrible coin. But I think you can't just brush off that it was a minor conflict that your son got involved in if he really did kick another child.
Yeah.
During the commotion, my son pushed another child.
He said pushed, but actually kicked is very different from push also.
Yeah,
right?
Push and kick different also. Yeah. Like you can push a child away.
Yeah.
But you can't kick a child away.
Yeah. There's a reason why when you watch like mixed martial arts, like a football kick to the head is an illegal move, right?
Oh.
Yeah. Because a kick can be much more damaging than a push, right?
So there is a lot of like secondhand news that we are getting. We tried to find the CCTV video, but we couldn't.
Yeah.
So I think in many ways, the one thing that you cannot excuse is the father of the daughter slapping the boy. I think that goes beyond a certain boundary. But I hope that the father of the boy who got slapped also doesn't just brush off the fact that he may have kicked another child.
Yeah.
But just when you were saying, I totally did not think about the fact that when we were kids, right, the teachers really, it's almost like the parents entrusted the teachers to discipline their kids.
Correct, yeah. Yeah, they did.
And I think probably everyone in our generation has kena from a teacher, be it caning on the hand, slap, ear pull, hair pull, everything kena.
Right? Very normal, right?
And it was damn normal.
Yeah.
It was, how's your day? Oh, you cannot slap by your teacher, is it? Okay, don't do stupid stuff next time.
Yeah.
Right. But even then, even in that weird setup, it's almost like it feels like the parents see the teacher as like a role model to enforce discipline. This guy is just a random guy at a playground.
Yeah.
Right. You wouldn't just be like, hey, bro, you just watch my daughter. If she does anything, just slap her.
Maybe 20, 30 years ago, like, the guy will be thanked for doing this. Right? Hey, thank you for disciplining my child.
The article will be, man, Good Samaritan steps up.
It prevents child from growing into a monster.
Fucking kena goes viral for doing that.
Yeah, 20, 30 years ago, I can imagine parents being
that's
like,
true,
you deserved it. You deserve it because you did that. Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Right.
That's
but now it's, you get proclamations of like emotional devastation and things like that for the child. And I'm not saying, I don't think we're making light of the fact that it was essentially assault, right?
Yeah.
Slapping anyone in public is not a good thing, right? We're just saying that, parenting back then, parenting now is very, very different.
Yeah.
Perceptions of it. But the interesting thing in another article of the same topic was that the dad actually said that, the girl's father should talk to the parent if he's not happy rather than hitting the child. He may not think he used much force, but he's much bigger size than a child. Even when I discipline my kid, I will usually hit his limbs and never hit him on the face. So he kind of like kind of admitted that he also disciplines his child
That's
by
the wife lah, right?
no,
Oh,
him,
no,
him,
yeah, correct.
he disciplines the child by hitting his limbs and not on the face, right?
Mm.
Which I found quite surprising, from even that he's talking about the emotional devastation of the child and all that. But what do you think when you saw that quote?
Hit his limbs and I mean, so as a new parent, I also like. I mean, wow, the whole hitting children to discipline. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
But I found this statement more funny, if anything. Like.
Funny. Why?
Because maybe he told our father, why you never slap his butt? You know, you cannot slap his butt, is it? Even I don't touch the face, no. But you touch the face, if you slap his butt, hey, we cool, no.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh shit, like, and I mean, okay, also being so open that he hits his kids, which I mean, from what I see, is something a definite no go now, lah. Right? So so that was for me. For you?
Yeah, because hitting the limbs could mean a lot of things. It could mean caning. It could mean using your hands or whatever. Because I had friends growing up where they would get caned until they would come to school with marks on their legs, and even back then it felt like, whoa, that's really excessive, right? It's almost, in some sense, almost humiliating for the child to go to school with these marks all over the legs and hands. So yeah, I hope things are okay at home for this child, right? And that he's not too traumatized by this incident, which he probably will be traumatized. This is one of those things I think he'll probably remember for life, right? I can't imagine like being slapped in the face by an adult when you're 6 years old and you don't remember.
Got anything you remember when you were 6?
No, I mean all the canings and all that for sure you remember, but back then it was such a common thing. I think at one point there was one time a teacher even in the act of swinging the cane, hitting someone else, not even me. And I was swinging the cane, like the cane ended up poking my eye, and then I had to go to sick bay, almost go to the doctor and everything because the cane went into my eye. That was how ridiculous it was back in our classrooms.
Well, you could have collateral damage.
Collateral damage from someone else's caning.
Man.
So of course I remember for life, right? It's so scary when the cane poked your eye like that. So I was like, I mean, this kid, he's probably traumatized, but I hope the parents also, reflect a little bit about how the fact that they're not watching him in the playground, and he also was a bit of a bully at that moment, using violence, right?
Yeah. It's just, and I mean for the kid also, because there was like the police came down, then he was sent to hospital. It feels like this is a whole fucking a multi-hour long trauma.
Yeah.
Right, because going to the hospital also is like not like can be quite horror inducing for a child.
So 6 years old was a problem, right? But what if it's older kids? Let's say like it was like a 15-year-old kid, like kicking another 15-year-old, and then the father of that 15-year-old comes and slap the kid. Do you think it would be perceived differently?
I mean, I think it will be perceived differently, yes, but it's still hitting. It's still hitting another person.
And there's enhanced penalties for offences against a person below 14 years.
Yeah. So
above 14, maybe not as serious, right? By law.
Yeah. And I mean, I think a lot of these laws, I don't know whether it's for fact or just like a feeling that a lot of these laws where, minors are treated differently from adults is because as an adult, you trust that people have a bit more experience and a bit more responsibility to not do stupid shit.
Yeah.
So if you're a child hitting another child, yes, it's horrible and it needs to be disciplined. But if you're an adult hitting someone else, then I think the penalties should stay, which is like causing harm to someone else. Even if it's a minor, it's worse. But even if you were to punch another 30-year-old man, you get in trouble. Right?
Yeah, you get in trouble.
Unless it's self-defense. I don't know what. I think even Singapore self-defense law is a bit.
No, there's no.
As long as you strike someone, you get in trouble, right?
Yeah.
So for you, if he just power slap, that fucking he turned his twist, he chalked up his hand before, and he slapped the 15-year-old.
Again, I don't think it's appropriate, right?
Yeah.
I think anything below like 18, I feel like they need guidance, right? And there's a reason why all these laws are in place where, even they commit a very serious crime, they're tried as children, their identities are not revealed. Yeah. Because the truth is, in some way, society has failed them, if we're not educating them properly. And that's why we need, teachers to be to be better educators and have more quality time with each of our children, right?
Yeah,
because children need guidance in that way. And I just think regardless of, 6 years old, 15 years old, they're still in a stage where they need a lot of guidance in their lives.
Yeah. And I mean, this whole violence with kids thing, it's definitely no go.
Yeah.
But I just want to give a shout out to the most brilliant punishment that my teacher in primary 6 gave me and my friend.
Yeah.
Because when she was teaching, we were throwing staples at each other.
Okay.
Like every time she turned, we throw staples.
That's damn dangerous, man.
Yeah, fucking badass.
Or if it goes in someone's eye.
Just throw staples, and when she turned, we just act. It was like Squid Game like that.
Okay.
So one time she turned suddenly and she caught, I think, either him or me in the act of throwing. So she called us up to the front, and instead of her pulling our ears, right, she asked us to pull each other's ears. And it started off like, hey, we bros, don't pull. But I think maybe he pulled a bit hard, then I pulled a bit hard.
Yeah.
Then it just went on till we were like trying to tear each other's ears off, and the whole class was laughing. But the teacher didn't lay a single finger on us.
Yeah.
She just set the boundary. And we could have totally been like, civil and just not pull each other's ears.
How long do you have to pull for? Like 5 minutes?
No, I think beyond a certain point, she had to stop because we were going to rip each other's ears off.
But that's brilliant. That's like...
So smart, man. So smart. I remember we were like, me and my friends, we were standing face to face, right? We were like, okay, don't pull. Then, hey, what you pull? Hey, don't pull. And then it just spiraled out of control.
Do you still know that friend?
Yeah.
You'll still like talk about the incident?
Oh, no, not for a while.
I see.
But yeah, genius. It was more funny, if anything.
Yeah.
But after that, we stopped throwing staples.
Yeah. I think last time the teachers, they were damn good at coming up with all these kind of punishments. Right?
Damn good.
Damn creative punishments. I remember one time I was made to walk around the whole floor, like my whole class. Everyone raise your hands and just walk around the whole floor of the school. Then all of us there's nothing it's quite fun, right? Just march together, sing songs, still can talk all that. I think by the third or fourth round, we're dying already. We're like, please, I'll do anything. And the teacher didn't even have to lay a finger on anyone. All he did was just like, y'all like to talk, right? Go walk somewhere.
Yeah. Then another one, I think the discipline master in secondary school, one punishment he would have for if you kena detention is he gives you graph paper and he asks you to shade alternate squares.
Yeah, I remember that.
Wow. And then you can only go home once you finish shading.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
You can see you want to encourage creativity in kids. Mm-hmm. You must give the teachers freedom to be creative as well. Walao. What a time, man.
Yeah.
What a time.
Correct.
But yeah, man.
You see, we remember these as well, right? But not in a PTSD kind of way. Almost like it was kind of funny.
Genius,
kind of way.
It's genius.
But yeah, I always love to go back to the comments because, the audience is the lifeblood of Yellow Button, right?
Yeah.
What is your one Shiok comment, the first one Shiok comment of the new year?
My one Shiok comment was by a long-time commenter, But Then Ho on Reddit. And she posted this other post in Singapore Raw that was titled Wanted lah. And the caption was, "Oh my god, this looks like Harish and Terrence, ha ha ha." And the picture is basically a wanted poster with what looks like one Indian dude and one Chinese dude. And the offense is they ran away without settling their bill of SGD $580.92 on Wednesday, 23rd October 2024, 10:30 p.m. So nothing about, the quality of the podcast, the discourse we have, the depth of research that we cover, but just finding this wanted sign of this interracial pair and just thinking of us, which was quite sweet.
Yeah. I saw that too.
It was hilarious. What about you, man?
Mine was a comment on Reddit about the last podcast where Potato12 pointed out that he or she was one of those who attended the Year One Festival and went into a lot of detail about what happened in the Year One Festival, about how the security checks were very invasive, the ads that were running between the performers was too long, and the communications were really bad. So, I enjoyed it that they gave a lot of a real breakdown of what went wrong with the festival, right? Because you don't get that a lot when you read the articles and all, but this one is like from their own perspective as an attendee.
That's true.
Yeah. So it's cool that we have listeners. We have listeners who were at the festival and can even tell us firsthand how they experienced it.
Hell yeah, man. And it also said that the exact same thing happened on Sunday.
Yeah.
Which was the final day of the festival, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
But cool. What is one Shiok thing? Maybe I'll go first. I have mine.
Sure.
My one Shiok thing is actually, a bit of a plug for ourselves also. It's a CNA Insider video. called 10 Inspiring Moments That United Singaporeans in 2024. So it's part of the On the Red Dot series, and it's a year-end special, right?
Yeah.
And so what they're doing is a countdown of the 10 moments that inspired Singaporeans. And they got like really like very, very good guests and very talented and very well-spoken guests to come on the show and talk about each of these topics. And one of the guests happens to be us.
Yes.
Love Bud. So it's my one Shiok thing because they actually aired it on Channel 5 on New Year's Eve itself, right? Yeah. So for me, I actually watched it on TV, and it was quite. And it was that moment where everyone's sort of waiting for a countdown, so you have the TV on and all that. So it's quite surreal to kind of be part of that experience.
That's true.
Of the national countdown experience where people are watching TV, people are, watching Channel 5, whatever. And then you're part of that whole experience of counting down the year.
True.
Yeah. So it's very different from just watching it online as a video because it feels very detached from everything. But this one felt like, okay, we're all gathered here and let's all watch it together.
But you were with your friends or family?
No, I watched it alone.
Watch it.
And just jerking off to my own face.
If friends, friends place, you're like, what's the show? Oh, no, it's me. Yeah.
No, the things we didn't even know how much of the show we were going to be in, right?
Yeah,
we just appeared for interview, and so it was all new to us as well.
Correct.
But the show itself was pretty decent.
It's like 45 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And I know it aired on Channel 5 New Year's Eve, then CNA the next day.
Yeah.
And then now it's on YouTube, you can put a link for. But I will say, right, that as much as, appear like, we don't let our head get big, but it's still nice to see yourself on screen, talk and all. But I will say, right, for the first 6 times we appeared, right, only you were talking,
No, but it balanced out towards the second half.
I know the second half. But the first part, because I was skipping forward, I'm just looking at Terrence. Okay, whatever he's saying. Then skip. I'm like, fuck, I'm still looking at Terrence.
But that's the thing about television, right? It boils down to the sound bites that you give to the interviewer.
Humble brag.
No. As in, I'm saying that it's not a good thing. That's the difference between a podcast and a TV interview. Where TV interview just really is like, okay, just say what you need to say in 2 seconds, that kind of thing. Whereas here we can have hour-long conversation and it's very engaging and all that, right?
I mean, that one, if you want to see the breadth of my facial expressions as you're talking, you can watch the first 30 minutes.
No, I say the first half is more of me because it was, I think the first half was more like the Coldplay concert Pope visiting Singapore, all these kind of less serious things. I think the second half a bit more serious, and that's where you came in, right?
Oh, I see.
Right. So
thanks.
It's a good thing that you are, you spoke about stuff with more gravitas, whereas I spoke about the more fluffy pop culture stuff.
Oh, so humble, Terrence. So humble. But it was still nice.
Can't believe you keeping score about this kind of thing. That also,
I'm just saying that last night when I was watching with my wife, I was like, hey, look, we appeared. And she's like, oh, Terrence speaks so well, so nice. Then afterwards, she's like, oh, you're not going to speak. I'm like, what the hell?
I think you need to take that up with the Channel News Asia producer.
I was like, okay, next one. Skip forward. Nope, still looking at Terrence. Skip forward.
No, I did notice that at first, but I think they balanced it out towards the end. Yeah. If you stay till the end.
I mean, still kudos to the team who reached out. It's always fun working with CNA. But it's just a minor thing. Still a good show.
Yeah.
My one show thing is also something you can watch. It is this recent anthology on Amazon Prime by the people who created Love, Death, Robots. It's called Secret Level, where it's 15 episodes that tell a story in an animated way about that's set in a popular game. Episode 1 is Dungeons and Dragons. And what I love about the show is that visually it's spectacular. The stories are all just concise enough to give you a peek into that world, but not like some elaborate melodrama. And the episodes are between 10 to 15 minutes long.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I wish there are more shows like that. That just have these micro episodes that is just, you got some time to just veg out, watch it, blown away, awesome.
But you have zero context of these games at all, right?
Yeah, zero context.
Then you still enjoy it?
Yeah, still nice.
Really?
Then after that, I'm like, okay, that's why this character was doing this in the game. I can still enjoy it, Terrence.
No, but you look down on people who play video games and everything, right?
No. I would say I do not look down. In fact, I wish I got into games or play games. But
BS. When you didn't have a kid and everything and all the time in the world, you were still scoffing at people.
I never scoff people who play games, okay? It's just a different interest, right?
Okay,
I never scoff. I have a lot of respect for people who play games.
Yeah.
Because I think games it's just very cool. Okay, it's very cool.
Okay.
But this one, yeah, you can still enjoy it without having much knowledge about the games.
Okay.
All those non-gamers out there, don't be swayed by Terrence's shitting on the fact that you don't play games. It's still a great show.
Yeah. Maybe I'm just being too like a gatekeeper. Like, oh, you
Yeah
don't know
lah,
anything about the game. How can
gatekeeper.
you pretend to like the show? You know?
Gatekeeper only. It's a great show. Great show. But yeah, man. Cool.
Alright. Cool. Well,
That's,
first one in 2025 in the bag.
First one in 2025. This year's going to be damn exciting, man.
Yeah.
It's going to be damn exciting. We got lots of things to share in the coming weeks. But yeah, so stay tuned. Remember, if you enjoy the podcast, do share it with someone who may not have heard of us. Follow us on all the social media and leave us a rating on Spotify because that helps.
And if you want to work with us, go to ministryoffunny.com or email us at contact@ministryoffunny.com.
Cool. Thanks so much for listening, everybody.